Hello everyone, welcome back to Shaving with Peg Leg. It's Sunday head shave day. Excuse me, and as the title said, we're going to do a head shave with things that have been around since the 20s. Not everything was made in the 20s, but these things were around in the 20s. As in, my Gillette Single Ring was made between 21 and 28 or 29. So that was in the 20s. We're using a Gillette blade, fourth use on the Silver Blue. We're using a Gillette blade, which were around in the 20s. And we're going to use Muelhens mug soap, around in the 20s. And we're using a Mohawk brush. I can't read the numbers, my glasses are so bad. I think it's a one. If I remember correctly, it's a 150. This has been around since 1912, 1915, somewhere in that range. Mohawk Brush Company. So, for an aftershave, 4711. It's been around since the late 1700s. Don't mind the dog. The front door's open. I got a box in front of it so she can't run out on the porch and scare the hell out of everybody. But we got the AC off. And excuse me if you can hear the fan, but I have to have it on high. It is hot in here with the AC off. So, it's getting to that point. Yay. Lower the power bill finally. So, thanks to the new subscribers. I appreciate you all for being here. Appreciate everybody else for tuning back in. All you guys, my loyalists. Appreciate you all being here. Pears soap. I always use this one for a head shave. Or a pre-shave on the head shave. Yes, I'm a creature of habit. I have certain things. I use the cube on my face and I use Pears on my head. Okay. Shake most of the water out of this. Oh, you can see the lather floating around already. The soap's blooming up in the bowl. Just trying to get it loaded pretty good. I might have to go back and load it some more, but that's okay. We can do that. We have the technology. We know how to do that. Yes, this is like a 22 millimeter. It's kind of small for a head shave, but it is a vintage boar brush that is super, super soft. Did you see that one? That one just landed in my tub of water. Pretty good right there. Let me add some water to it and we'll go at it again. It was kind of pasty. It was a little thick. That's better. It's slick as snot, though. That's the one thing about Muelhens. It was always slick. It still is. Alright. 1920s Gillette Single Ring with a Gillette Silver Blue. No, they were not around in the 20s, but Gillette blades were. As close as I could get. Even if I had a pack of Gillette vintage blades from the 20s, I would not use them because they would be carbon steel, and carbon steel loses its edge over time, and they would be dull as a butter knife. And I've already shaved with something similar, and I'm not doing that again. So, 1920s head shave. Okay, so what happened on October 9th in 1855? Quick, hit Google, figure out what happened. Well, lots of things happened, but one thing I'm going to talk about, excuse me, I got sweat rolling in my eyes, and it feels like it's brought soap with it. This eye's on fire. Sir Isaac Singer. That name sounds familiar. It should. He is the founder and originator of the Singer Sewing Machine Company. He made a patent, or got a patent, for applying a motor to a sewing machine. And it really wasn't a motor. It was a mechanical operating device, but it was listed as a motor. Because in 1855, they knew about steam engines. They had no idea about fossil fuel powered gasoline type engines or electrical motors. Those were still a few years away, but it was listed as a motor. And what it was just a way to turn the sewing machine so that the needle would move up and down. Alright, I'm going to read something here. We're going to jump ahead a little bit. Singer only lived to be 63 years old. Alright? He was born December 27th, 2 days after Christmas, in 1811, and died July 23rd, 1875. He had many inventions and many patents, but he's most famous for the sewing machines. Other people had invented sewing machines, like Walter Hunt and Elias Howe had patented sewing machines before Singer. But Singer's improvements to those machines are what got him his patents and made him so successful. He took an original design, improved upon it, and made it better so it could be used more efficiently and cheaper. Cheaper is key coming up. And when he died in 75, he was worth $13 million, and his fortune was divided unequally among his 20 surviving children, his ex-wives, and various mistresses. Now, you saw the picture I posted before I started yakking. That was Singer, Mr. Dad Bod himself. He was a sex machine. He had fathered 26 children in his life. The man got around. Alright, he sold his first patent for a machine to drill rock for $2,000, which was $50,000 in 2018 money. And he took that and he invented another machine, a wood block cutting machine. And he was trying to sell that. He took it to New York City with his wife and 8 children. And he was in a shop. Of A period, B period Taylor and Company, and when it was in the shop and they were working on building it, the boiler blew up and destroyed everything. Killed his machine. Killed his machine. Blew it up. So then he was convinced to move to Boston. So he moved to Boston. And he was going to try and put it on display there at the shop of Orson C. Phelps, who had a metal shop. He made various things out of metal. And Lerow and Blodgett sewing machines, that's the one company, Lerow, and Blodgett, Blodgett sewing machines were already being constructed and repaired in Phelps' shop. Phelps, knowing Singer was an engineer by being an inventor, asked him to look at the machines because they were difficult to use and construct. And they kept breaking down. So he asked him to look at them to see if he could help improve upon them. Well, Singer looked at those machines and he saw right away what could be done to improve them. And what he did is he filed patents to improve those machines. So you can take somebody else's design and invention, and if you can make an improvement to it that is not on the original, I mean, you can take the original, the way it does things, and you can make an improvement to it, you can file a patent on your improvement. So that if the company ever decides, hey, we want to make this improvement to it, they have to buy your patent or give you royalties. So that's what he did. He made improvements and filed patents. All right. And that was August 12, 1851. In 1856, after Singer filed his patent to put a motor on a sewing machine, sewing machine manufacturers Grover and Baker, Wheeler and Wilson, and Singer were all accusing each other of patent infringement and were set to meet in Albany, New York to pursue their suits against each other. And Orlando B. Potter, a lawyer and president of the Grover and Baker Company, which was one of the companies that was suing over patent infringements, came up with the idea that, hey, let's not waste our money fighting each other. Let's pool our resources together. We'll form a conglomerate. You know what I'm saying? Pool us together. Use all of our patents and make a sewing machine, and we'll all get rich. So they were all like, okay, that's a good idea. That makes more sense than wasting money fighting each other in court over patent infringement. We actually could make some money working together. So they decided to do that. They only had one problem. Elias Howe, he was not part of their group because he was the only one that was making sewing machines that did not have a lawsuit for patent infringement. So they went to Howe and they said, hey, buddy, we want to use your patents to make sewing machines, and we're going to make them all together and get rich together. And he was like, and he thought about it, and he's like, no. And they were like, well, you can join us, or us all together are going to make a machine far superior to yours and put you out of business, or you can join with us. So they finally got him to agree. He didn't exactly join with them, but he allowed them to use his patents, and he accepted a royalty off of every machine made instead of joining them. So all he had to do was sit back, let them make the machines, and worry about sales and everything else, and he could just collect his money. Smart man. So, anyways, that came to pass. In 1856, Singer started turning out 2,564 machines. And in 1860, he was making 13,000 a year at his new plant in New York City. And later he built a massive plant near Elizabeth, New Jersey, and started making machines there. Before he branched out and went worldwide. At its height, the Singer Sewing Machine Company was making between 5 and 6 million machines a year to be sold. And he had a partner. I gotta scroll backwards. I forget this guy's. I keep forgetting this guy's name, and I don't know why. G period B 0 period G period B period Ziebler, Zieber. He became a financier and partner of Singer's, all right, to make the sewing machine. And he came up with a brilliant idea that, look, let's make our machines. They're expensive as hell. And Singer, he used Eli Whitney and Samuel Colt's model of making interchangeable parts, so that if one machine broke down, you could take parts off another machine, same model and everything, and use it to fix it. So he started using that method to produce his machines. And he got the cost of each machine down to $100, or excuse me, $10. They were $100, and by using that method, he got it down to $10 a machine, which still in the mid 1800s was a lot of money. And Ziebler came up with the idea, why don't we finance them? Why don't we sell them on a payment plan basis? We'll let the housewives buy the machines, and they could pay us so much a month until it's paid off. And they did that. Huge success for the company. Took their sales and skyrocketed them, because now everybody could afford to get a freaking machine, right? Overnight, they became the #1 sewing machine manufacturer, producer, seller in the world by doing that. In the later 1800s and into the 1930s, in England, he built a factory in England. And along with that factory, Singer opened up a school, a sewing school for young girls, to teach them how to sew so they could make their own clothes, fix their own clothes if there was a rip or a tear or a hole or whatever. And at one point in England in the 1920s, there was over 20,000 sewing schools in England alone for young girls. And young girls were encouraged to make their own clothes to attract young men. Which, little did they know, they didn't have to make their clothes. They had to just take them off and go around in their underwear, and you would have attracted all the young men. It's a lot of old perverts too, but we're men. We don't. You want to attract a man, show him flesh, okay? That's it. It's simple. I had that argument and discussion with a friend of mine years ago. She was complaining her boobs were starting to sag. I said, I don't care. Men don't care. Your boobs could be knocking off your knees. Men don't care because they're still boobs. We don't care. And she said that men do. I was like, yeah. Some may, most no. You got boobs, they're bouncing off your knees, all that means is they're big to me. But anyways, yes, they were encouraged to make their own clothes to attract young men. So, it wasn't until the 1960s when Japan started making lighter metal casing. The Singer sewing machines, I've got one. They're made out of cast iron. I have a 1898 cabinet and a 1905 machine in it. And the difference between a 1905 machine and the 1898 machine is 7 years. Same machine, just 7 years different. I got the cabinet. I was looking for the machine. I got the cabinet. My next door neighbor over here, we have garage sale once a year here, yard sale, and she had it out front for 35 bucks. Well, it's an 1898 cabinet. I knew that when I looked at it, so I grabbed it. Didn't have a machine in it, so I went online. I bought a machine, 70 bucks, 1905, and it's the same machine from 1898 to 1907. 1907 was the last year. It was the same machine. 1908 was a different machine. But anyways, I still have mine. I had that because I used to sew with my grandmother all the time. My grandmother's machine was built in the 1880s. She had the treadle machine. It's got the pedal on the bottom that goes like this, and it's got a belt that powers the machine, and that's the motor that Singer invented, the treadle, because prior to that, all the machines had a wheel on the side, and it was hand cranked. You had to hand crank it to sew. It had a little handle on the wheel sticking out of it, like a handlebar type thing, and you cranked it. Singer came up with the motor, the foot-powered motor, to drive the machine. That was his invention. And I just read, or did I bleed? So, anyways. Yeah, those machines are heavier than hell. Heavy. Cast iron. And I had to fix my cabinet a little bit. She didn't have any knobs on the drawers, and I could not find the originals anywhere. And I searched all the parts suppliers for the old Singers, and none of them had the exact handles that went on that one. Well, excuse me, she had one. Out of the 4 drawers, she only had one. So I got a different style. It looks okay, so we're good there. But I'm still trying to figure out how I can use it having no legs. It's gonna be when I have one leg, I can put my bad leg in the front and the good leg in the back and push on it, and then just lift my knee up and down on the front part. But now it's no legs, it's harder. It's more. I've tried and I can't really do it that well. I'd have to really, really practice at it. But I like those old machines. You can't kill them. You can sew through any material you want because the needles are so large. But Singer's invention, his machine, with the foot pedal, took sewing. An experienced seamstress could do 40 stitches a minute. He could do 900 with his treadle machine, the foot power. He could do 900 stitches a minute. And we're talking experienced seamstress just doing a straight line could do 40 stitches a minute. He could do 900 in any direction you wanted. Also, it used to take 15 hours for a seamstress to make one shirt. Well, when Singer's machines got put into the Industrial Revolution, in the warehouse, in the factories making clothing, you went from going 15 hours per shirt to 1 hour per shirt. And Singer actually owned clothing production plants, but they were under a different name. And he supplied the machines for free, so cut his overhead. And they made clothing. And what he would do is each shirt stitched on the machine. Still needs a certain amount of hand finishing work done to it. So what they would do is they would hire seamstresses that worked in their own home, so he didn't have to provide space for them at his factory. They worked at their own home, and they would deliver boxes of finished shirts that needed their finishing touch. And when they delivered the boxes of new shirts to be sewn, they would pick up the boxes of the ones that were finished. So he had all these women sitting at home working on finished shirts before they could be shipped out for sale. And Singer built his plants next to railroad lines, so he could tie right into the railroad lines, and when shit was done, out it went. And that was for his clothing production, and oh, I did nick myself. I got some red. And like they didn't nick themselves in the 20s, right? And on his clothing production. As soon as it was done, load up the train cars, bye-bye. Get out of here. Alright, Allen Block. Gentleman John Allen Block. Whoa, I just hit a spot right there. Oh crap, that was like a 4. Yeah, I did nick myself there. I don't know how. Oh, I'm getting spots all over the head. I'm getting 4s and 5s and 3s and yow. Oh, okay. That's all right though. It's clean. Let me tell you what. I'm squeaky, so I don't mind. I don't care as long as I'm squeaky. Yep, he was worth $13 million when he died. 26 kids he had. 20 survived. You know, there's always child death rate back then. Several wives, ex-wives, mistresses. Mr. Dad Bod himself. He was such a handsome-looking man with that big scruffy beard and that gut. I shouldn't say anything about guts, but which Hazel? Keep the wrinkles away from the head. All right, 4711. Give it a shake. Yep, that has alcohol in it. It sure does. All right, Johnson & Johnson baby lotion. I always lose on my head. Just that much. It's all it takes. Rub it around in the hands. Pick up that 47.11 cent, and got it. I'll rub it on the head, and we're all good. Put some on the arms. Get rid of the last of it. There we go. All right, gentlemen. 1920s head shave from products that were around in the 20s at least. All right. Run a little long. I always do with my history stories, but there you go. Isaac Singer. 26 children, wives, ex-wives, mistresses. Worth $13 million when he died. His first patent on a sewing machine was not even on his machine. They were on somebody else's, just to improve it, and it kicked him off into making sewing machines and became the #1 name in sewing machines for a century, maybe, or longer. All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate y'all being here. Thanks to the new subscribers. Don't forget my affiliate link in the description box. You use that link when that account hits $25. I buy a $25 Razor Company gift card, give it away to you guys, and I'll also post 4 links to channels that are under 1,000 subscribers, shaving channels under 1,000 subscribers. Go ahead and hit them up if you haven't already. Just trying to help these guys get closer to 1,000 subscribers. That's all I'm trying to do, is help the community out in any way I can. All right, guys, I appreciate y'all being here. Thank you very much. We're done with the babbling fat guy in the camera. You're in the chair next. Happy shaves out there, guys.